Remember those teen days when your folks spread it over you going to a party and you just rolled your eyes like, Mom, Dad, you're overreacting. Fast forward to now. It's your parents raving on Facebook, typing Google searches into the Twitter feed, and you sweating bullets. Funny how life swings, huh? Now, some older folks are absolute wizards online, but they're not the majority. Most are like kids in a digital candy store, and that makes them the prime targets for all sorts of internet bad guys. These can range from jokers coaxing them to buy a few gift cards to real villains aiming to empty their life savings. Yes, the internet can be a wild, wild place. So I'm going to give you 9 things you can do to keep your folks safe online. Stuff you can do when you visit them next. Because people aged 60 and over lost nearly $2 billion to internet tricksters in 2021 alone, according to the FBI. That's a crazy amount of money. In fact, cybercrime complaints from folks in this age group have shot up a whopping 70% between 2019 and 2021. Feels like a digital flu season, right? It's honestly so heartbreaking to listen to stories of the elderly losing their hard-earned retirement fund to a scammer halfway across the world. But before we switch our savior mode on, let's peep into the most common traps our seniors fall into. Phishing, a favorite of the bad guys. That's when sneaky crooks send messages pretending to be from some legit source, say a bank or the IRS or any government website for that matter. Clicking the link in the email or text takes our unsuspecting seniors to a knockoff site that looks exactly like the real thing. One wrong keystroke and bam, their personal info is in the wrong hands. Tech support scams are another biggie. These criminals pose as customer service agents from genuine tech firms. They ring up our folks telling them their computer needs fixing. Or they'll fire off an email posing as, say, Norton, scaring them into an imminent cyber attack. Then they wheedle their way into getting remote access to fix the computer. Next thing you know, they've run off with personal data or they've rigged the system with malware. And let's not forget the criminals who have a very special place in hell. The ones who fake romantic interest or long-lost pals, worm their way into hearts, and then the bank account. Particularly nasty considering they exploit lonely hearts, huh? Okay, now that we've taken the haunted tour of cyber scams, let's switch on the lights and lock these spooks out. Ready for the solution mode? Let's roll. And if you, like me, have folks who are a little too stubborn, my grandfather in this case, then stick with me and I'll tell you exactly what to do. First, let's take a look at a few actions you can undertake the next time you're with your folks. Get a hold of their gadgets and let's get ready for a digital spring clean. You know how we all feel like pulling out our hair when Instagram moves that damn Reels button to a new spot? That's because we humans are creatures of habit, especially when it comes to tech. And remember, we are the tech-savvy generation. So you can imagine how tough it must be for folks who spent the time learning this technology to then have to learn it all over again, even if you're trying to teach them a method that's so much simpler and safer. Needless to say, you'll need the patience of a saint. So take a deep breath and let's go. Number 1, housekeeping. You got everything? That iPad you gifted them, their cell phones, and particularly that ancient computer in the living room that's been running Windows 95 since, well, 95. Good. First up, get your parents' approval to snoop around their devices. Next, inhale deeply and go exploring. Check out all the apps and games installed. Anything that looks like it swam from the wrong side of the digital pond needs to go. Of course, do verify with them first if they actually use it before you flush their Candy Crush saga down the drain. By the end of this cleanse, they should be left with devices that only house apps and games from trustworthy developers. But remember, this is not a one-time gig. Make it a point to chat about this whenever you have a phone call with them. Ask them about the exciting new apps they're using and offer safer alternatives. Basically, stay clued in about their digital life. Number 2, update, update, update. To roll up your sleeves and get everything updated. The operating system, the apps, all of it. Make sure all security patches are installed. These are like the immune system of the device, crucial in protecting it from potential threats. Turn on automatic updates while you're at it, and explain to your folks how crucial it is to let these updates happen as soon as they pop up. Number 3, reset all the passwords. Alright, this next bit is a bit of a mini marathon, so hydrate yourself, find a comfy spot, and get ready to reset the passwords for everything. All the apps left on the devices after your cleanup need password resets, particularly social media and financial accounts. Make sure you install a password manager so your folks aren't scribbling down passwords on Post-its. And don't forget to walk them through a tutorial on how to use it. Don't forget to reset the device and Wi-Fi passwords too. I remember watching an SNL sketch about how long the passwords are at our parents' houses. Well, at least they're practicing safe password norms. Number 4, secure the Wi-Fi. There are several ways to check if the Wi-Fi is secure. First, check the security type of the Wi-Fi network from the device's Wi-Fi settings. If the network's using a secure encryption protocol such as WPA2, it's good to go. Another sign is the presence of a padlock icon next to the network name. If you want to go the extra mile, you can use a security scanner to check for vulnerabilities. A quick Google search will give you some options. Number 5, set up privacy settings. With your parents' approval, go through the privacy settings on their social media accounts, email, and other online platforms. Limit the visibility of their online information and posts. Ensure they're only sharing what's necessary. Hey, maybe, just maybe, this is a golden opportunity for those embarrassing ancient pictures of you to mysteriously disappear from Facebook. Nah, I'm just kidding. We don't do that. They're trusting us with their online accounts and we need to respect that. Oh, and if they're Apple users, turn on the Ask App Not to Track feature. For that, you go to Settings, then Privacy, and then Tracking. It's a nice feature that prevents apps from tracking activity across other apps and websites. It's not 100% reliable, but it's a basic privacy feature that needs to be used. Number 6, safe browsing plugins. Then get some browser plugins installed on Chrome or Safari or whatever browser they use. And if they're still on Internet Explorer, it's at least time to get them onto Edge. Anyway, these plugins rate website safety in real time, adding another layer of protection. Again, a quick Google search will give you some options. Next, install a VPN. It's a great way to keep data safe, especially when using public or unsecured Wi-Fi. A complete security solution like Aura is also a good idea. It includes security features like a VPN, a password manager, as well as checking for any suspicious activity related to your parents' personal information online, including the dark web, by the way. It'll also get their email addresses removed from a lot of mailing lists online automatically. This can save them from a ton of spam and scams. 8. Dedicated device for financial transactions. Here's a pro tip. If possible, keep a dedicated device solely for sensitive activities like online banking or shopping. This device should be clean of any non-essential software and used only for these tasks to reduce the risk of malware. So absolutely no Candy Crush. And no, please don't use that ancient desktop computer for this. They should ideally be using a new device with the latest security features. 9. Set up a routine device check. Finally, don't just do all this and forget about it. Whenever you visit, check your parents' devices for any unfamiliar apps, programs, or changes in settings. This can help catch any potential issues early. And remember, scams pop up more frequently than mushrooms on a dead tree, so conversations about online safety need to be regular. Alrighty then, now that you're well versed in the basics, this needs to be the first order of business next time you visit your folks. Heck, it might even be worth booking a special trip just for this. Trust me on this one. Once you get the basics down, it's time to move on to the talk. So find a comfy spot, whip up their favorite snack to lighten the mood, and get ready to dive in. The first thing to do is make them skeptics. Number 1, encourage skepticism. Now, your folks have a couple of decades of wisdom on you, so they don't exactly need a lesson in skepticism. All you need to do is give them a friendly nudge to exercise that same skepticism online. If an offer online seems too good to be true, it probably is. Loads of online scams use irresistible offers or scare tactics to hoodwink people. It might help to share a few real-life examples or anecdotes. Number 2, educate them about online threats. Actually, you know what? This deserves its own spotlight because it's super important to elaborate on the potential threats they might bump into online. This includes phishing scams, email scams, social media scams, and dodgy websites. It's crucial they understand to never share personal or financial information online unless they're 100% sure the site is legit and secure. Number 3, teach safe browsing practices. If they're game, teach them to spot the signs of a secure website. This usually includes a URL starting with HTTPS, which means that the site is encrypted and secure. They should also know the red flags of a scam website, like poor grammar, unusual URLs, and requests for personal info. You're a pro at this stuff, right? Right? You know what? Just make sure you've got these practices down for yourself before you start sharing the wisdom, okay? Now, I bet some of you are scratching your heads thinking, you guys have parents who actually listen to you? Don't sweat it. I'm dealing with a stubborn father myself, so I totally get it. I mean, sure, it's a little tricky teaching safety to a generation that lives through actual wars, but don't worry, I've got a no-nonsense, straightforward, and maybe even slightly bonkers trick up my sleeve. Ever heard of a white hat hacker? Essentially, they're the good guy hacker, an ethical hacker. They can perform a controlled raid on your folks' accounts, obviously with their full permission. The idea is to show them, right in their faces, how vulnerable they can be and where they need to shore up their defenses. Because sometimes words just aren't enough. Show, don't tell, and all that, right? Bear in mind, this would, of course, all be done in a controlled and consensual environment. Anyway, to see the best way to get protection for you and your parents online, check out the description below. I'll be refreshing that frequently. So get out there, protect your folks, and remember to stay savvy and safe.